Can't wait till Christmas. As you might imagine, we're going to have a closer look at the Shiv, my Christmas present from my lovely wife. Quick word about Google Plus though. Apologies for the lack of responses to your comments on the last video. It wasn't for want of trying, but it does seem that the only way that I can reply to comments is when I first open the Google Plus notification. If I don't respond at that point and I close the notification, if I go back to it, it just takes me through to the YouTube comments and I can't reply to the YouTube comments because there's no reply button. So, as I say, apologies, but there will be replies and responses in the future. So, on to the Shiv. Now, first thing, I have removed the very nice Clyde lanyard. Two reasons. First reason is I don't want to get it all grubby. But the second reason is at the moment I'm having a lot of trouble with dropping stuff. So I've made this fairly crude lanyard with a bit of a cobra stitch middle bit. Because should I drop it, it won't stab me in the foot. I'm sure you'll agree that's on balance a good thing. So let's have a closer look. Okay, so if we start our closer look at the Shiv with a quick look at the specs. We've got it on a cutting mat here that's in centimetres, but the overall length is 6 inches. The cutting length, just from tip to tip, not taking the curve into account, is 2 3/8. So it's quite a dinky little size. In the hand, bear with me a second, with a nice large finger trial at the front there, you can comfortably get a 4-finger grip, and the thumb naturally gravitates to this slightly downward slope there. I haven't gone for jimping on the spine for two reasons. First of all, when you've got the knife in your hand, because of the natural position that your fingers and your thumb fall into, you will have most of the knife in your hand. So if you actually need jimping because you can't get a decent grip like that, then jimping isn't going to solve the problem. That should be rock solid. The other reason is we've got a nice thick 5mm stock, polished fairly well on the back, nicely smooth. The corners are a crisp 90 degrees. Not sharp to the touch, not uncomfortable, but just a nice crisp corner, which should give you a lovely edge for your fire steel. Now, what tends to happen, as you'll be aware, is you get a build-up of crud from the burning sparks. And if we had jimping, it would only serve to make the cleaning more difficult than it needs to be. So we're keeping it simple there. The steel 52-100, I must admit I didn't really know much about 52-100, other than knife makers seem to like it. So I did a little googling, and it turns out it's a ball bearing steel. Good hardness, reasonable corrosion resistance. This is heat treated to 60 Rockwell. So the performance, well, I think we saw in the first video that it slices catalogue paper as though it isn't even there. I don't remember whether we had to go at a piece of cardboard, but we'll just do that now for completeness. So single layer corrugated, straight through with no problem. Now Dell from Dirty Room Knives did make a comment about how his puck, being a different grind, being a slimmer profile, is more suited to cutting performance than the Shiv with the thick stock and the half height grind. I'm certainly not going to contradict that. In principle, that's perfectly true, but I don't think we should let that create the impression that the thickness and the edge geometry on the Shiv makes it a poor cutter. Got some paracord. And then we go back to the paper. Now, weight. As I mentioned, although it's quite a small knife, it's very chunky. So let's see how it weighs. Taking the lanyard off, as you can see. And that is 128.1 grams, which, if we can just do that again in normal, 4.52 ounces. So it's a good solid weight. It's by no means overly heavy. It's not impractical at that weight, and in its sheath that adds an extra ounce or so, 5.6 ounces, just over 5.5 ounces. So there's nothing about the weight of this knife that is out of proportion with its size and its usability. So there's the Shiv, an excellent, sturdy, small fixed blade knife. I love it to bits. Hope you like it too. See you next time.